Hi, everyone, and welcome to Signature West Podcast. I'm your host, Sam West from Palm Springs, California. As you know, I'm a seasoned real estate agent since 1991, and I do the podcast to bring you inspiring stories. If you want to find out more, go to www.samwest.co. Today, we're speaking with the creators behind the documentary called Welcome to Toolshed. If you don't know what the Toolshed is, you're going to find that in a moment. In the meantime, say hi to Andrew, Klaus, Vineyard, and Daniel Talbott. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Good
How are
morning.
you? Good
I'm good.
morning.
I'm good. So you're in LA, I'm in Palm Springs, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you start by telling us how you both met?
Andrew, you go.
Okay. So I was living in Portland, Oregon at the time, and I was the co-artistic director at Defunct Theater, and we had just been named one of the top 15 queer-themed theaters in the country, by Out Magazine, and Daniel's agent actually sent us a script, and it was a script for a play called Slipping, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks when I read it. My co-artistic director actually read it first and was like, "You have to read this immediately." And I got about 10 pages in, and I was like, "I'm directing this. I can't wait." And so Daniel and I started talking on the phone, and then I flew him up to meet the cast and kind of everything when we were starting for our table read at first of rehearsals. And then we flew him up once the show was up and running for a talk back, and we just became really close friends. I mean, he wrote a letter of recommendation for me to go to grad school.
What
And
was the
then
film?
it's a play called Slipping.
Okay.
And at the during the pandemic, and I graduated grad school and was thinking of kind of trying to decide what to do the rest of my career. Daniel said move to LA and pivot to film and television. So here we are.
Yeah.
And you moved from, you grew up, Andrew, you grew up in Georgia and then to Oregon?
Yeah, Georgia, and then Georgia, then to North Carolina, then to Oregon, then to Washington, then to Hawaii, and now LA. So it's been a
He's a traveler.
And how
travel.
did and how did you fall in love with the arts?
Um, I don't really remember a time when I wasn't in love with the arts. It was something I was always going to do. My medium has changed over time. It's been photography, it's been sculpture, it's been installation art. I'm also a musician. I've worked in theater for a decade. So creating and storytelling is kind of the through line. Whatever I do, it's about storytelling, and just trying to find ways for people to connect and process the world around them. So it just growing up in an isolated area, the arts were an escape for me, whether it was television and film, whether it was comic books, whether it was punk rock, like it was a way to see that there was a bigger world than just the, one stoplight town that I grew up in.
How do you like LA?
Love LA. I love LA.
I grew up in LA.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love.
where'd you grow up in the city?
Well, I started in what's called now Silver Lake, but it was kind of like Los Feliz back then. And
Yeah.
then I spent the rest of my entire life in WeHo, naturally. But I went back to Silver Lake, and that was my last stop.
Yay,
Yeah,
Silver. I'm in Los Feliz as well.
yeah. But you guys didn't see it back in the day. I mean,
Yeah.
you came now, and it's very different than it used to be. I loved it both ways. Yeah. So I grew up. That's where I grew up, and here I
Yeah.
am. Yeah. And
I,
you, go ahead.
Oh no, I
Well,
was gonna say based on what Andrew said that it's like I feel like as a queer kid, like often where you find yourself is the arts. Like it's like even if you don't choose to do that with your life as a queer kid, like you can find solace and sanctuary in all art because there's signals that are put out through photographers and music and clothes and fashion. Where you're like, oh, those are my people and they're fucking amazing and I'm not alone, even if I feel alone in this small town. So art is just such a sanctuary for I think everybody, but also especially queer people in a really amazing way.
And you had a different route. You went from New York to San Francisco to LA.
No, I was born in San Francisco. I moved
Oh,
around a lot, but my main home was New York. And then I came back to work on a TV show about a decade ago and just stayed. I love LA. I also spent a lot of time in LA as a kid because I
right.
had a lot of friends and family here. Dated some folks here, had some bad breakups here. And
Some folks, not one person, but some folks. Okay.
Yeah, definitely not just one. And so So then ended up back here. I love the classic Hollywood. I love the kind of history of Los Angeles. And so I love being here and just walking the streets and, looking for Betty Davis's ghost. And I love it. It makes me very happy. So
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. So as you both know, I told you this already. About was like a month ago, there was like a short film fest. It's not really a fest, but I call it a fest.
yeah.
Here at the Peckford Theater, and there was like I think like 9 short films,
Mhm.
and then I saw the ad for the tool shed, and of course my cynical self came up and was like, what could they possibly say about the tool shed? Okay. And of course, yours was toward the end. So I had to sit through the whole entire, which there were 2 that caught my attention, yours and one more. And I have to say, so for everybody watching and listening, the short film was a trailer for the documentary, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting that. That's not what I was expecting, like a short film, but I'm glad. And when I saw the trailer, I was really excited because I don't know how old are you both, but I'm 63. So I grew up in a certain era, and the trailer showed that era where I grew up in, in San Francisco and in LA. So without saying much, why the tool shed?
So the tool shed for me, Larry Kramer was a really dear friend and just mentor to me and in New York and someone I just fucking loved with
For
every
the
part.
ones that don't know who Larry Kramer is, you want to tell us who Larry
Oh my
Kramer is?
gosh, if you don't know who Larry Kramer
I
is,
know. Well,
get your queer history,
I
people.
know.
He is a brilliant playwright, novelist, activist, helped create ACT UP, was incredibly involved in just the AIDS crisis. A lot of people know him as just being just ruthless about helping queer people, but how I knew him was actually as a romantic. Like he's a really
Really?
sweet, kind, loving, incredibly loyal person. And then, if you piss him off and you go after queer people, he gets mean, in
Right.
a way.
Right.
But I absolutely loved him. And he's one of my favorite people. I'm so sad he's gone.
Yeah.
And when he was gone, like I kept hearing about these bars, how after the AIDS crisis, the people that actually survived it, how were they going to find chosen family again, and how were they going to find their community after it had just been slaughtered? And it was these bars and bars like the Tool Shed that where people refound their family. You know what I mean? So yes, they found sex, and yes, they had fun, and yes, they danced, and as everyone does, straight, gay, whatever, at a bar, right? But what they mostly found there was community again. And I think Andrew and I are so in love with community. I think we have really fight to create queer film community. We're community deeply together. And I was just like, I want to tell the story of what these bars were actually for our community after the AIDS crisis. And the Tool Shed has this amazing history. And every day, these 70, 80 plus year old queer people come to that bar at like 10 in the morning, not to drink, but to be together in community. And it's so beautiful. And I was so fucking moved by it. And like, I was like, oh, I want to tell. And because I have connections to Palm Springs, my grandma lives there and it's close to us. I was like, oh, this is one of those bars that created a safe space and a home for queer people after the AIDS crisis. And I want to tell that story. And I want to talk to those people, the survivors of when so many people did not survive. These are our kind of our elders. Do you know what I mean? And it's special to me.
You grew up in New York, or you lived in
I,
New York.
I grew up all over the place,
Yeah.
but
So New
New York
York,
is where I live the most. Yeah.
so New
Yeah.
York, like, I'm not downsizing the tool shed. I'm just trying to, zoom out. New York had especially during that era, there was so much going on.
Yeah.
Yet you chose the tool shed.
We chose the tool shed because the tool shed to me represents the whole country. It represents places that are not New York and San Francisco, where like everywhere in this country, there is a fucking gay bar for our community that has created, just a safe space for people to be who they want to be. And again, yes, that's about coupling, and yes, it's about relationships and love and everything it's about for the straight community. But like I think we both really wanted to focus on a bar that was not New York and San Francisco because we were like, look, these bars are everywhere. This community, our community is fucking everywhere. We are not going away. We are a huge part of that. We are a huge part of the fabric of this culture and our country. And so I thought, oh, Tool Shed is one of those small kind of pocket bars that has saved a lot of people's lives. And so I think Andrew and I really wanted to focus on that.
Yeah, I think for somebody like me growing up in a small town who didn't grow up, near New York or LA or San Francisco, I still found queer bars in my teenage years, and whether it was driving to Tallahassee with friends to go to a bar, or Savannah, like or trying to find that community. And they were safe spaces. I mean, they were places that, I got taken in and felt protected. I was like a scrawny little punk rock kid, so I played in bands for years, and we would tour, and those were the bars that we would go to and feel safe. We'd play a show, not always friendly, and then go to a gay bar, so we would actually feel around people that wanted to teach us things. I have a background in queer history and queer theory, and I think a lot about how we lost a generation and a half of people. We lost history, we lost connectivity. So much of queer history is secret. It is passed down partner to partner. It is passed friend to friend. It isn't archived and protected in the same way that cultural history is for the heterosexual world, because the people maintaining those archives for so long didn't view those relationships as valuable. So I feel like those spaces where you have intergenerational mingling is really, really important. And I think it's, you know, I always say about the stock that this is our first generation of, queer seniors who didn't expect to live long enough to get to be seniors because of HIV and AIDS. And then
Yeah.
by miracle, grace, and good or bad luck, people have survived. So it's important to me to document as many of those stories and help tell that history. So we're in uncertain times right now, and they survived
a hell of a lot more.
Unthinkable times for so many, especially for, like Gen Z have no idea.
No idea.
No idea how bad it was. And so I think it's really important to tell those stories so we could all, they are the blueprint.
Yeah.
So for Andrew, do you have the same feeling like Daniel toward the tool shed? That's what you wanted to, that was a good choice for you to tell?
Yeah, it's the, I like I've lived all over, and so there is a bar, like, there's sort of a leather bar in every town, like there's like one, it's usually the Eagle, and in most bigger cities. But what I love about it is there's something special about the tool shed also that I think is true of a lot of bars. And bars are, and core bars are getting fewer and fewer in between. Portland, Oregon is now losing one of their big bars after decades.
Why do you think that is?
It's a combination of things. It's real estate greed and rising prices, pushing people out for land is a huge part of it. If I'm just being like, it's just capitalism is a huge part of it. Changing patterns in the way people gather. It's a loss of community. I think it's a strategic choice to break up queer solidarity. And
do you think?
Yeah, I do absolutely think it is especially in Portland, it was a choice of real estate developers to break up the neighborhood so that there wasn't one. It's like, well, and people get into the lulled sense of, oh, we're integrated into the whole community, it's fine. And when you don't have a central place to gather, you don't have a central place to be strong.
You just reminded me of the story. I'm not sure if you saw the documentary of the Catch One.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just remember that's how she had to close, because they bought the building. They wanted to buy the building. She wouldn't give it up. Yeah. And I forgot about it till now. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, but that's something that I think about. Once we got to know the tool shed, I'd been there a couple of times just as a patron, like scoping out the place to shoot the film. But once we really got kind of embedded and knew people and saw the pace and the regulars, it's people coming in at 10 and 11 a.m. to drink coffee and tea and make sure that their friends made it through the night and make sure they eat, breakfast and lunch. People come in and the bartenders, you're like, okay, we take him some chips over, send some food over, make sure he eats, it's, then there's like the next shift of day drinkers, getting off their late shifts. And then you have like the nights where it's a bit more mixed, and you see that there are different, more nuanced takes to like who comes to the bar. It isn't just the Thumpa Thumpa gay club. It isn't just the old man leather bar.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful, multifaceted community that is under attack like every queer establishment is, but quite literally at times.
How so?
Do you want to talk about this, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, first, like, one thing I'll say, Robert, who owns the tool shed, has become a dear friend to both of us. I absolutely love that man. He purposely keeps the music low so people can actually talk. You know what I mean? Like, it's never going to be a thumpa thumpa club where
Yeah.
you can't actually hear your friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, he always circles everything around community and then also safety. And I know that like after the election, I don't know how much we have permission to talk about this right now, so we'll be a little bit careful about it, but like because I haven't asked Robert and I really want his permission. But I know that they got a lot of threats and a lot of phone calls and a lot of shit after the election at the bar. And what Robert did is out of his own pocket, he heightened security. Do you know what I mean?
Can
And
you
like
can you say what kind of calls?
I don't want to because
Okay.
I just haven't asked him. Do
Okay.
you know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah.
Out of like
I didn't know this till now, so I'm pretty
I don't
curious.
think a lot of people. I think he kept it pretty quiet and like it, but they got a lot of kind of like, I think everything from burn in hell faggot calls to like we're gonna come after you
And
calls.
this happened after the election.
Yeah, this
Yes,
happened like the phone rang off the hook. They actually had to take the phone off the hook because they couldn't keep
for
up with it.
days.
Uh,
Interesting.
so like, and so what Robert did out of that is out of his own pocket, he heightened security because he's like, I don't want my community taken out. I don't want my community attacked. And I don't think people know how much of his own personal money
I
he
live here full time, and I this is news to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he literally wired that entire thing so that we can see 2 blocks down the street who's coming, and just so that he knows that his community is safe. And again, I just go like I said this I think at the film festival that Paul and Steve run that's so beautiful, Queer Shorts. And I think I said like it's all your entire life you're taught to think faggot is a weak word or pussy or oh you fucking queer like it's meant like we're weak. And I go
Derogatory.
yeah, but I go, the strongest people I know in my life are fags. The strongest people I know are drag queens. The strongest people I know are trans people. And I mean, literally the shit that we go through, they are warriors. And so I now go like, cool, call me a fag. Like I think it's a fucking badge of honor, And it's like, and I think like, like people like Robert, it's so beautiful that in his action, without having to kind of declare it, he literally just sanctified that place so that it was safe for people to be themselves and for our community. And I will always, I was so moved by that when I heard that, and always just be so indebted to people like him around the country that are like, that have our communities back. Um, and it's just extraordinary, like what he did, and he was like, I'm not gonna bend over for them, I'm not gonna give up for them, but I'm gonna make it safer so that my people are okay. And I just like I see that all over. Like I was just in Durham, North Carolina for an amazing film festival called Out South. That's a 30-year anniversary queer film festival in Durham, North Carolina. And I found this beautiful little bar called Pinhook that's a trans kids bar. Like there's literally like young kids just come there to dance and not and it's so funny that like MAGA folk or whatever, just to be generalized so we can talk about it quickly, are like, oh, these kids are, being preyed upon, or these people are predators, and I'm like, I've never seen so much F and joy in a bar. No one was dancing sexually. They were just having fun and they felt like they could be themselves and it was free and they were protected. And it was so, I literally just sat at the bar and like cried. I know that sounds stupid, but I was so jet lagged. I was so tired. And I just like fucking started crying. And I was like, oh my God, thank God in the South in a red state, there is a space like this for these kids who are just so sweet. And they're not there to like get laid. They're there to just like dance to Charlie XCX. You know what I mean? And like, and I was just like, thank God for these spaces, and I was so, I think I bought Andrew and I t-shirts. I was like, how can I donate? And so I was just like, I love that there's these spaces and there's people like Robert and people like the trans, person that owns the Pinhook that are just like there for our community and step up. And to me, they are heroes. And I hope one day our country goes like, these people are heroes. These people are not degenerates. These people are not freaks. These people are not people that should be taken out of society. These are people who literally are American in the most American way, which is like through America, building up community. And I just go like, I so badly want to try to tell any inch of that story that we can, because I love our community and I'm so proud of it, and especially right now.
You know, you
So,
began filming when?
God,
When
May? Was it May, Andrew?
of which
Yeah.
of when of this year?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, so you began filming this year.
yeah. It was, we just started.
So well, I'm sure you've seen it. So they went through a remodel process,
Yeah,
and that happened
all of
after.
that.
Yeah. So you guys did not. I guess there's no footage to post the remodel, right?
Yeah, we got the whole backyard, which was really fun.
Okay. Okay.
And got the
Patio was done when we showed up, which was great.
Right. Which is a very expensive. I don't know if you guys noticed how expensive it was. And when it was
Insanely.
finished, yeah, it was like it's a big project.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was finished, I want to say last 2 years ago, Leather Pride weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when it was finished. Yeah. It was
But
barely
also
finished.
very cinematic. The misters are very cinematic. We were very happy with the misters.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They look
Yeah.
beautiful.
Instant production value.
Yeah.
And when do you expect to finish production?
Well, we'll have our first assembly September. So Andrew and I are also making a television show, a queer TV show called Born Again. We start shooting the pilot on Saturday. So we're very wrapped up in that right now. But we get our first assembly look at the film for Toolshed, I think September 8th. So
What's an assembly?
assembly is kind of the first look at what it will look like together
Oh, okay.
as a
Okay.
story.
Okay.
Because you shoot so much footage, especially with the documentary, and maybe 10% of the footage actually makes it into the film. And so we're working with an amazing editor, Patrick Smith, and just an incredible team of people on the whole. Noel Dumir Kami, Kirsten Kelly, Rachna, Jonah. Like shout out to
It takes
everybody.
a village.
It takes a huge village of just
Yeah.
amazing people.
Yeah.
And so we'll see our first assembly on the 8th, and then as our TV show goes into edit, we'll start to edit the feature.
So what are we looking at? I mean, I don't know if you guys would like how this works, like the timing of release.
I think part of it is we're looking at festivals that we're talking to a couple festivals about premiering at those festivals,
Right.
who are both interested in the film, which is really cool. So hopefully we'll have info about that by like January, and we'll
Okay.
share the cut with them. And then the hope is to premiere at a festival and to do a short version of the film first, like 23, which is a long short, but do a kind of longer short version of it first to get people interested and hopefully get help to complete the feature.
Any reason why the trailer is not like out? I found it finally, but I had to go through so much to find. Obviously, I saw it. Any reason why it's not like YouTube accessed or just
I think part of it is that Andrew, Jonah, Noel, Kirsten, and Rachna are like one-man bands a little bit, and
Okay.
so we don't have a PR person. We don't, we're doing this all ourselves. Like
I hear
we're,
you.
so part of it is just I think timing because we've worked on 3 projects this summer. So, so things like that are what we're not focusing on. We're kind of focusing on making the film itself. And I also think that part of it is kind of nice that it's a little private right now and kind of like teasing.
It is, and it is, yeah. But it kind of like, I mean, like yes and no, and I get the mystery behind it, and I do appreciate it. Like I said, when I went to the Short Fest, my reaction completely shifted after seeing it. So that was kind of like, okay, we can talk about it now. But when you see a trailer of anything, who just did the same thing, by the way, is JLo has a film coming out which nobody knew. It's coming in September next month. Kiss of Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
I'm like, when was this happening? And there's zero press done now. The trailer looks amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of
fun. Sundance. It was at Sundance. It was incredible.
Did you see it?
I do not. I've seen it. I don't think I can say that. Yes. I haven't seen it. No. So, but definitely see it in the fall.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I was wondering, usually for that kind of caliber of people, they want to like advertise you in advance, right? But this wasn't, I don't know if it's deliberate or not, but anyhow, where do you see the future of this documentary going to be?
My hope is that, whatever version, whether it's the short version or a longer version, it's seen by as many people as possible. For me, it's about educating people and humanizing people and just I hate to use the term humanizing people. People are human. People are complicated in many things.
Right.
I just want to be able to tell our stories and document them. And, I really want, especially younger generations, to hear from their queer elders that, maybe they don't get to have as much contact with. And to kind of hear that, there is a what sacrifices have been made for the freedoms we have now, what loss we've endured, and how much progress we've made in such a short amount of time, and how delicate and tenuous that is, and how it's very dear. And just to remind, if anything comes from this, just to remind people to hold their loved ones close. Like, for me, it's about love and community and taking care of each other, because we're all in this together. So that's my hope for it.
Do you think, knowing the current generation and how they perceive things and how they able to absorb things, whether it's knowledge or stories or facts or history, are they able to, do you think they'll be able to grasp it all?
I don't know. Like I don't, like I feel like everyone is so different and how he grasps things are so different, like what generationally, age-wise, just person to person, like everyone is so vastly different.
Right.
And I know people of that generation that know more about queer history than I do, and I know people of that generation that like could give a shit less, and but just like any other generation, do you know what I mean? And so like my hope is that we make something really human, just a really human and accessible in that way,
Right.
that like you enter it through the people that we have filmed, and that we find so stunning and unique. And I hope that crosses the aisle in every way. Do you know what I mean? And that it's just that it's people sitting with people in the end. And I think some people will be into it and some people will kind of tune out of it, as they do with any movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
not to say, but it's our job to kind of do the best we can and to make
Right.
it as truthful and cinematic as possible, and hopefully people will sit with it and get something out of it. I know I do. I watching those interviews and getting to listen to those people speak about their lives has been, especially with everything going on in the country right now, has been such a balm. Like, it's been such a healing thing to sit there and go like, fuck, okay, we are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. People have gone through this before. They've gone through worse things before. Like it's because I think that this administration is working so hard to erase queer people and queer culture, and actively trying to, I mean, God, the thing just taking out Pulse's sidewalk, like it really fucking hurt me. Like, I woke up to that and I was like, it made me sick to my stomach that you could go like, these people died, man. These people died in a club, and you're gonna erase their fucking sidewalk. Like, what does that say about you as a culture, as a administration? And but then you hear these stories and I go, okay, cool. They've gone through much worse than this. We are going to go through bad stuff again, but we are here as a community, and that's what makes me feel strong, at least, and it gets me through each kind of day with what's going on right now in this country.
I love it.
I was just say, I think with Gen Z or even Boomer, like any generation, doesn't matter. You only know what you know,
Right.
and you don't know what you don't know until you
Right.
know something different.
Yeah.
So, you just present facts, you just present information, but you do it in a way that is compelling. It pulls you in. You feel like you get to know these people. The quickest way to kind of bridge difference is getting to know someone person to person to person. They always say, like with transphobia being what it is, the quickest way to kind of break that down is like the average person doesn't know a queer person, doesn't know a
Trans person. Right.
that they know
Right.
that they know of
Or met.
or have not met.
Or met. Yeah.
And that they meet a trans person and then they're like, oh, I like this person. This person's cool. Like or maybe this person's a jerk. Maybe they're just people. There's no boogeyman.
Right.
And so I think that's something about this, is that you get to know these people, and I think you'll fall in love with a lot of them. They're just
Amazing.
wonderful people who have survived the unimaginable and are still just getting up every day, going to, a lot of them are retired, and they're still just trying to figure out how to survive in this world like any of us.
Right.
They're worried about paying rent. where their next meal's coming from, how are their insurance is going to keep things covered. I think
Family. Yeah.
that's something you can relate to at 24. That's something you can relate to at 44. That's something you can relate to at 84, you know?
Yeah.
I personally love documentaries. I mean, if I can watch documentaries all day, every day, that's my thing. I don't know for whatever reason. Um, for you guys as filmmakers, what do you prefer? Or do you prefer?
I don't prefer, like, it's all comes down to story to me. I mean, there's, some of my favorite films are, God, like Paris is Burning, Jenny Livingston's film, and and that's
But
a
that's also a
documentary.
documentary. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. And then I love Call Me by Your Name, like, and
Right.
they both hit me in beautiful ways,
Right. Right.
and they
Yeah.
both are two of my favorite films. And one is a narrative imagined feature from a novel, and one is a complete documentary about New York. And so, like, I love film, and I
You're a lot
love
more
that.
open than I am.
I love that film has so, I feel actually we can look at film, how expansive film actually is. Like, I love experimental film. I love film that's like, like Derek Jarman's Blue, where it's just a fucking blue screen I find it meditative. And so, like, like I love film, and that film is so much bigger than we often let it be.
Right.
And there's so many ways to tell a story. And I really do want to shout out, it's really like, I just keep thinking about them all the time, like filmmakers, especially documentary queer filmmakers like Jeffrey Schwartz and like Jenny Livingston, and just these people that, like, they're fucking telling our stories and have kept our stories alive in a way that I don't think our community always gets behind and realizes. These people are heroes. These people are brilliant filmmakers, period. And I just look up to them so much, and I feel like I know that they've been in my heart and head so much working on this. And I know Andrew has said the same. And like, I just, huge shout out to them and to the many others, the people who did the Celluloid Closet, and people who did, like, we just saw in Durham, I just saw a wonderful film about the guy who created Pink Narcissus, and like, and I just was like, thank you, because
Mhm.
these people and they're not getting money. They're not, most of them are not winning awards. Like, it's like,
Right.
like they're just telling our stories as filmmakers, and it's selfless and it's beautiful, and these people are heroes to me. And so, huge shout out to them. If you don't know who I'm talking about, we're talking about, please look them up, go watch their films. They're effing genius.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we're alive while they're alive, and I can't wait to see their next films. So
I look so forward to, well, at least for sure, Toolshed to be on the film fest. And
Thanks.
yeah, thank you both so much for doing this.
thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Anytime, and maybe come back when it's out
Yeah.
and people
Love to.
see it, and you can now talk about the reaction, and I think once it's out and people can, and you can talk more about things that you couldn't talk about now.
Yeah.
And thank you for telling us about what happened to Robert, or the bar as a whole. That was a surprise to me.
You
And I
ever
want to
seen
say I'm kind of like feel like idiotic that I live here full time and we don't know this and nobody heard of this. But
I
you
think
think but
Robert kept it really, I think he wanted people to feel safe and that they were welcomed, and he did
yeah,
it.
because I think once things like that happen,
Cares
people
people.
kind of
Yeah.
it's and rightfully so. So I do understand his point of view as well.
Well, and also, like, Robert's a man of action. Like, he fucking just went to work and made it
Right,
safer. You know what I
right,
mean? And,
right,
which are my type of people. I'm like, he didn't need publicity for it. He didn't need
right.
people. Like, he just went to work
Which
and
I
he
think is probably the greatest thing to do.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you both so much, and good luck with the film. All the best to you both and your good work.
Please come see us at Cinema Diverse. We have a film called My Age Now, which is a experimental narrative film, and it's going to be at Cinema Diverse the second weekend on Friday at noon. And please come check it out. It's called My Age Now, and Andrew and I will be there. So come say hey to us.
It's
And
actually it's called the Camelot Theater for the. I read your post and I was like, where is this? I mean, I've never heard of this. It's actually the Camelot Theater, which you all know what that is. It's on Barristo. So yes, thank you for reminding me. I was just about to mention it, and it got a.
yeah, Cinema Diverse is wonderful, and it has an incredible lineup this year. So come see a bunch of films. Please come say hey to us. and we're so proud to be a part of it.
And that's on the 2nd of.
It's 2 weekends. I think it's the weekend here. I'm gonna pull it up. Sorry, I know this
Okay.
is I've had this before, but it's the weekend of, I think it begins on the 17th. I'm so sorry if I'm getting these dates wrong, but it's like the weekend of the 17th and then the weekend of the 25th, 24th and
Of
stuff.
September.
Of September.
Of
Yeah.
September. All right.
So it's 2 consecutive weekends of just jam-packed amazing films.
Yeah. Thank you
And
for
then,
reminding me.
Yeah, and then we'll be back in October doing
What's in October?
spooky shorts.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a horror film that Daniel produced that'll be that. So we're gonna be in Palm Springs a lot.
a lot. We'll move here. I can sell you a house or two.
Oh, please, my God, please do. I want to move there so bad. I love it.
Anytime. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. And again, if you're watching this and if you appreciate what you've heard and you love stories like this, please subscribe. It helps me bring people like Daniel and Andrew here to tell their stories. And at a minimum, educate us. And at a minimum, inspire us. I mean, I'm already inspired and I thought I knew the story, but I learned something new. So on that note, I'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody.